Greetings, Dekalipa here. Today, I will be talking about something that has been on my mind for some days now. You see, I made a video a few days ago in which I was bursting with emotion. I was speaking from the heart, making me quite unfocused, erratic, and quite frankly, all over the place. And for that, I apologize. That is why today I decided to take some time to focus and make sure that what I'm about to say is more compact and precise. The video I made pretended to a Twitch streamer by the name of Asmongold. I expressed how I recently discovered him and how I had felt quite understood by his words in regards to video games and the video game sector. I expressed how video games no longer feel like art, are becoming too expensive to be considered a leisure, and how many of these companies that I have given my trust to throughout the years have been mishandling their products. That video has reached an unexpected amount of you. For that, I thank you. Because many of you who have stopped by have continued a conversation with me. For that, I truly thank you. This was necessary for me, for you see, I have only recently started to engage with the online space more actively. But till now, I have had many responsibilities in my life that needed my attention, but now the winds have changed. Since this is a great folly of mine, I am quite unaware and naive of a great many things pertaining rather to the online space. My previous video stood only upon my emotions and my observations. The good folk that commented and educated me about many things on my previous video had done a great service to me. For you see, one such thing that I have been quite unaware, quite naive, and quite honestly oblivious to is something called DEI. A commenter by the name Styx SA said, "Dude gonna be on a Asmongold video, lol." Great video, but the only thing he fails to mention is the DEI slop in these games as well. Dragon Age is the perfect example of that. Demi Havoc 420 then follows up and says, "Just proves the DEI stuff isn't the only factor, but I agree it is a big factor for me." When originally I saw these comments, I was perplexed. I did not know what this DEI meant. So I responded. "Greetings. I must confess, I do not know what DEI is. I heard him mention, him being Asmongold in this case, this many times, and I have seen people talk about it, this pretending to his chat. But I always assumed that it had something to do with the lack of quality in games. I'm just now getting more involved with the online space, and I'm seeing that this DEI initiative is truly a big problem. Could you please tell me about your experiences with this initiative? I will look into it more." With that being written, Demi Havoc 420 was gracious enough to give me a very well written answer. He says, "Yeah, no problem. I will try to sum it up for you. So, DEI stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It is an ideology based around Marxism. Look up Karl Marx. It is pretty much an ideology designed to destroy democracies from the inside out. The biggest issue with it is within businesses. For example, let's say there are two people going for the same job as a surgeon, a very serious job. The white guy has better credentials and would be the better option for the job. based on their skills and knowledge. The other guy is black, though he wouldn't make a bad surgeon, but he isn't as qualified as the white guy, in this specific case, again, based on their credentials. Well, a company with DEI initiatives would still hire the black guy based on his skin, despite him being the least qualified of the two. As you can see, there is a lot to unpack here. I was curious why he believed this is designed to destroy democracies. So I looked into it. I found this article on LinkedIn. It is titled, "The Dangers of DEI and How It's Destroying America from the Inside Out." It is written by a man named Randall Burris on the 10th of August, 2024. I have looked into Randall, and it seems that Randall is a business owner for data center operations. He also wrote this article, and judging from his past experiences, he is a fairly experienced worker within the workforce itself. He writes in one section, "Division over unity, DEI's impact on social cohesion. One of the most significant dangers of DEI is its potential to deepen societal divisions. While DEI initiatives are often marked as tools to bring people together, they frequently do the opposite by emphasizing differences rather than commonalities. In many workplaces and educational settings, DEI training programs focus heavily on identity categories such as race, gender, and sexual orientation, which can lead to overemphasis on what separates individuals rather than what unites them as Americans. This focus on identity can foster an us versus them mentality, where individuals are categorized into oppressors and oppressed, groups based on immutable characteristics. This binary thinking not only exacerbates tensions but also discourages dialogue and understanding across different groups. Instead of fostering a sense of shared purpose, DEI often perpetuates a narrative of victimhood and blame, which can erode the social cohesion necessary for a healthy, functioning society." This paragraph was very concerning to me. It had grabbed my attention straight out the bat. I then read on. There is another section that I would like to point out. "Threatening freedom of speech, the DEI orthodoxy. Another alarming consequence of DEI is its impact of freedom of speech. In many environments where DEI is heavily promoted, there is often a corresponding pressure to conform to a particular ideological perspective. Those who question or criticize DEI initiatives may be labeled as intolerant or bigoted, leading to a culture of self-censorship and fear of retribution." I read that, and it quickly became clear that this sentiment is now shared by a commenter and a business owner who felt compelled enough to write this whole article. Everything I had read within this article sounded quite dogmatic, so I turned to Wikipedia. Since Wikipedia is quite commonly used, it tends to reflect the outlook of the masses. That is why I am using it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the United States, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, are organizational frameworks that seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of people, particularly groups who have historically been underrepresented or subject to discrimination based on identity or disability. As I read this information, it quickly becomes clear to me why Demi and Randall feel this way. There is an ideology that wishes to promote fair treatment and full participation. Yet more and more I watch, I read, it seems that it is in fact trying to unfairly secure results by leveraging the sins of the father. This is in fact a vicious and vengeful transformation of the original wishes. I will illustrate it to make it easier to understand. The free market of ideas, products, collaborations is akin to a theater with a stage and viewers. Assuring that this stage provides fair treatment is crucial to a healthy market. Ensuring that it is easily accessible and, more importantly, clearly explained to would-be participants on how it works, on how it can be accessed, what it brings, what it does, is even more so important to a healthy market, I would say. Once an idea, a product, a collaboration takes the stage, it must earn the approval of the viewer. The viewer is not obligated to approve of whatever is being presented on the stage. They are not. They simply are present and react accordingly to their needs and desires. I mean, this allows many ideas, products, collaborations to flourish fairly and openly. This is a utopia, however. It is unachievable because in reality, this theater is susceptible to foul play of humans. This can take the form of exploiting connections, causing chaos, foul play, and a myriad of other unfair practices. Keyword unfair. There are many ways with which we can challenge these unfair practices to varying degrees of success. Yet, unfairly securing results by pointing out the unfair practices is a hollow solution. There are many instances where these unfair practices have been challenged by fair ones. And it has shown that those tend to bear the most fruit. Airbnb, Apple, and more importantly to our interests, Nintendo come to mind. Airbnb in its inception was told that it is not needed, that it would never flourish. And many companies, booking companies, actively fought against Airbnb. Apple in the beginning was on the verge of bankruptcy. It was only by truly challenging the norms of mobile devices or personal computers that Steve Jobs, with his leadership, transformed the company. And Nintendo was told that the new wave of the PS2 and the Xbox and everything would leave Nintendo in the dust. They will not compete with technology that these other consoles possessed. Yet Nintendo rose to the challenge and released the Wii, taking it into consideration that Demi and Randall are dealing with these hollow solutions. It also makes perfect, clear sense why they would connect all of this to the observations of Karl Marx in a negative sense. I come from a place where communism ruled unchallenged for a long time, until certain aspects of capitalism were being adopted, leading to developing a sort of unique socialism that, as far as I'm aware, is not seen commonly around the world. In academia, we were taught that Karl Marx's teachings about class struggles, historical materialism, labor theory of values, and such, can be used to motivate individuals to challenge these unfair practices of the free market, or in our illustration, the theater, rather than ensuring that the theater burns as Karl Marx saw it fit. This point of view was only made more apparent, strengthened rather, by examining many companies and programs and individuals within my homeland. All of this, I have just now been made aware of it. I have been oblivious, unaware, naive to all of this. Yet again, Demi and Randall have been dealing with this for a long time. What Demi shares next makes even more sense. To them, this is a way to get more diversity into their businesses. But in doing so, they have also lowered the quality of their work by hiring someone who wasn't the most qualified for the position. When it comes to being a surgeon, you want the best person to have that position. So, in short, these DEI initiatives have led to many people getting jobs they weren't the most qualified for, and thus the quality of the work reflects that. This is the biggest issue with DEI, beyond DEI just being racist in general, but there are multiple other issues that come with DEI as well. For example, these DEI initiatives only go one way, and it's always at the expense of a white person. So DEI tends to be rather ostracizing based on skin tone, which is prejudice. In video games, it has also led to game companies that believe in DEI gatekeeping people out of their organizations. Marvel Comics, for example, was exposed about 12 years ago for firing anyone who did not agree with their politics or ideologies. This has led to comics becoming woke and preachy. We are seeing the same issue with the entertainment industry as a whole. Games, movies, TV, even card games are now preaching their woke messages by trying to indoctrinate everyone. Sorry, this was kind of long, but this is still just the surface level issues with DEI and the woke agenda. Thank you for your kind message, and I hope this information was enough to help you better understand what is going on here in the US. But there are countries that are pushing DEI much harder. England and Australia are a few off the top of my head. Everything expressed by Demi is now easily understandable by me. Everything now, when I take into consideration, makes sense. I understand. I see. I empathize. There have been games that I had an interest in these past couple of months, yet I had no time to indulge in them. These included Avowed. For you see, I enjoyed Obsidian's previous work with the Pillars of Eternity series, and Dragon Age Veilguard. For you see, I played Dragon Age Inquisition. That is the only Dragon Age game I played, and I quite enjoyed it. I then watched Asmongold play these games, and I quickly felt the emotions I expressed in the previous video, only for them to be echoed by Asmongold. All of my grievances from that video still stand. But now, being informed about this DEI organizational framework, I now see what these unfairly secured results, leveraged by the sins of the Father, bring. These hollow solutions, in congruence with everything expressed in the previous video, begot hollow games. Nowhere has this hollowness filled me more than with Assassin's Creed Shadows. I made a video about it sometimes past. I simply expressed that I was not interested in playing the game because I simply felt this hollowness when interacting with everything that Ubisoft provided. It was only made clear later when Asmongold played it. And now it has only been cemented with this new information. I expressed that these games are hollow. I said that they lack the art. And lack of art is a form of hollowness. All of this simply now makes me ask one simple question. If you are a place of business, if it is your goal to produce a product with the sole purpose of gaining money, of gaining an audience, why would you ensure any sort of responsibility to anybody that is not fully qualified for this position? I said, in academia, we were taught that the things that Karl Marx preached, for instance, a worker needing to have some sort of relation with his product, a worker understanding that there is a difference between those with more wealth and those that have no wealth, a worker that is trying to fight and overcome these unfair practices. All of that can be used to just fight off these unfair practices, rather to just simply burning it all down and rebuilding it from scratch. The theater itself works, rather should work. In practice, it does not, for the reasons I said earlier. So when these companies do this, it simply does not compute, for I had been raised since I was a small tyke to follow these footsteps, to use these tools in this certain way to achieve a certain level of success. And for me, it works. For my way of life, it works. And to be honest, every single successful person, company, group, ideology that follows the same principle has also reached a high level of success. The best example I can use is Valve. Gabe Newell has left the place where he worked before disheveled, disgruntled. He had expressed that he has felt used, unheard, unappreciated, what have you. He, by the teachings of Karl Marx, had every reason to try to burn this theater to the ground. Yet he stood opposed to these unfair practices. And he has now created Steam, what is arguably one of the most user-friendly and, more importantly, fair platforms. And it has reached a success that it has trumped all others. There is a reason why I personally believe that Valve rather, with Steam, is now the most likely candidate to truly reshuffle the cards, the power, the percentages when it comes to operating systems. SteamOS is now, I believe, the true greatest leap forward, one of the greatest leap forwards when it comes to the personal computer market space. In that, making Linux readily accessible and easily understandable to the masses, such as Windows did originally from DOS. This is true innovation. This is true great practice. And if we were to remove ourselves from Steam, from Valve, even though that they had made great games, they don't make them anymore. So I will take other companies as an example. From software, from Dark Souls onwards, they make art. They understand that great mechanics, great story, art direction, dialogue, what have you, all of these contribute rather to a great product. And despite the fact that they might have faced many unfair practices, they did not use any of this DEI, to my knowledge, for they wanted to earn their results, earn the respect of the viewers. And by Jove, they got it. They have earned the respect. And every single great developer that nowadays operates has done the same. I could say the exact same thing about CD Projekt Red. Everybody within that company has earned many a goodwill with Witcher 3, rather. But they have also squandered it, ruined it, to a very, very unsalvageable amount with Cyberpunk. I was one of them. I bought Cyberpunk, pre-ordered it rather, and I played it on a PlayStation 4 regular. I felt very much hurt, betrayed, furious with CD Projekt Red. Yet, I believe in second chances. I believe in redemption. I truly wish to believe in that. And in my eyes, they have. With Cyberpunk 2.0, they have redeemed themselves, in my eyes. Cyberpunk nowadays is one of the greatest games I had ever played. I fairly enjoyed it, very much so. But that is only because they wanted to earn their respects. And as far as I know, they did not do any of this DEI. And if they did, I would assume that probably it does not last long. Because if someone wishes to challenge unfair practices fairly, using unfair practices does not go well. To quote Assassin's Creed, we work in the shadow to serve the light. One of the core tenets of Assassins, of the Creed, made ever more important by Al-Tayri bin Lahad. That is an outlook that simply does not apply here. That is a way of work that does not produce what we need. That is why Assassin's Creed Shadows feels hollow. I did not like the movement. I hated the parkour. I hated the combat. I didn't like the art direction, rather. It felt too plasticky, the models. The parkour, I still will not forgive them for not going back to Unity. The combat itself pales in comparison to Ghost of Tsushima. The voice acting is atrocious compared to even Revelations, Black Flag, Origins. I'll go as late as possible. Bayek is one of the best written characters in all of fiction, in my opinion, and it is a fantastical performance. None of that was shown in Shadows. And yet, I saw a dark-skinned individual, a samurai. I thought, this is curious. They said that this is a historical samurai by the name of Yasuke. It's like, okay. They said that this is a person that existed. Okay. Assassin's Creed never did that. They never put a protagonist as a real-life person. They were always made-up characters. So I was like, okay, they're trying something new. Fine. It is only later on when I saw that the usage of this character and then promoting them as this historic character, not that they promoted him, but the sheer level of prestige and the sheer demand of reverence and admiration for the masses that they wanted is what rubbed me the wrong way. I did not know any of this beforehand. I was only made aware of it now with reading all of this. Originally, what I thought was simply this: oh, they made a historical character. Ooh. Yet I'm in Japan. Why can I not be a Japanese man? I would like that. I was a dark skinned man from Africa in origins. I was Bae Kasiwa. Granted, I wasn't sub Saharan African, South African, Nigerian, any of that. But for all intents and purposes, he was a proto Arab. And I'm fine with that as well. They tried, I believe now, I see now with this, they tried to earn the results unfairly. They tried to earn this. I don't even know what. I don't even know what that brought to the game. And now, when I look back, and now when I did extra research, so much time, energy, manpower, and most importantly, capital has been given into this section only for other parts to suffer. Traversal, combat, voice acting, storylines, game mechanics. Why do we need fort building at Assassin's Creed? Give me more stealth mechanics. Give me more combat. Give me more stealth. Give me more traversal. Give me things that should emphasize the assassin experience in Assassin's Creed. I am at a loss of words. I am disappointed. I have spent most of my life working, living my life, enjoying games, and without even knowing, they have been slowly changing, morphing, transforming into something that feels hollow. And now knowing that these ridiculous budgets, these overstaffed studios, this lack of passion towards project, this view of everything needed to be monetized, everything about money, everything about simply trying to ensure a way to simply get as much capital out of us by using these DEI unfair results is simply is disheartening. I've come to a decision that I will very, 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 very hesitantly buy any more games from these big developers. I will now think not once, not twice, but 5 times before I spend my hard-earned money to anything AAA, to anything from the studio that brought you X, Y, and Z. I have more faith in indie devs. I have more faith in people like Asmongold now, because I believe that we all share these grievances, the sentiment, the sadness, this hollowness, and wish to see it transform to the better. And since these are place of businesses, since they participate in an open market, since they're using unfair tactics, since they are pushing this monetization and these budgets, and I don't know what, the only great solution I can see is simply not buying what they're offering. I have heard some years back a CEO, I believe, or a developer echo a sentiment. If you don't like it, don't buy it. You know what? I will take your advice. I will not. For all of you watching, if you feel this way, you have my sympathy, you have my empathy, and you have my understanding. I am new to many a things online, and I will try to do my due diligence of researching, unpacking, understanding many things. And I will try to be as fair as I can be. And I hope that, as Asmund Gold has done for me, I hope that I can pave the way forward for someone else who might also be trapped in this loop of insanity as I was. As the denizens of Lumiere say, tomorrow comes. For those who come after, I will do the same. I hope you're doing well. Spread the word. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video around. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers in 1 year's time. Truly think you guys can get me there. I want to make videos and stream and be a voice that brings you joy in life. And I will do my best to do so. That being said, thank you for watching, and thank you.